Welcome, humans, and any celestial body else out there listening. This is Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm your host, Courtney Christine Cosco. This podcast, simply put, is a mix of human curiosity and how, with the help of AI technology, curious minds can get the answers we seek. Let's get mind-bending and plunge deep beneath the surface of our everyday thoughts. Let's begin. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm Courtney, your guide on today's journey of questions, wonder, and discovery. Today, we're venturing into some thought-provoking ideas, some that blend a few of my favorite things: spirituality, philosophy, and the mysteries of existence. As my curiosity led me to this rather spiritual topic today, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. I know religion, faith, and spirituality is a very personal thing. It may mean one thing to one person and something else entirely to another. This episode in no way aims at influencing or suggesting that any of what I am about to say is ultimate truth. It is simply meant to open minds to the possibilities. Being the young species that we are, we only know what we've been taught. And there is so much of what we've been taught throughout our lives, aside from spirituality and religion, that we have learned to unlearn. It's just how life goes. As we grow, so do our minds, and so do our beliefs, and so does what we know. There's so much to be gleaned as we continue to learn and open our minds to the schools of thought that currently exist. And maybe, just maybe, observe the parallels and appreciate the differences that are in fact quite similar to what we have learned and believe. As we continue on here, this episode may bend some minds and open others. It may upset some and ruffle feathers. But either way, I say this all coming from a place of love and curiosity, just wanting to share what I've learned. Thanks for coming along this cosmic ride, in awe of our infinite existence. What if Earth isn't just a planet, but a school, where souls choose to come to learn, grow, and evolve? What if we're more soul than human being, temporarily inhabiting these earthly bodies in this dimension of many? What if there are multiple dimensions with many life-inhabiting planets, but we'll never reach them because they are in fact on different planes of existence? Perhaps only through our soul's evolution can we make it to these other planets, or perhaps we've already been there. Because what if we are just souls living out a short, temporary human experience? Let's start with the big question everybody asks themselves at one point or another in their lives. Why are we here? If you've ever wondered about the purpose of life, you're in good company. Philosophers, mystics, and thinkers across time have grappled with this question. Take Socrates, who encouraged self-examination with his famous maxim, "The unexamined life is not worth living," meaning that a life without introspection, critical thinking, and questioning one's beliefs and actions lacks true meaning and value. He believed that by actively examining our thoughts and motivations, we can achieve a deeper understanding of ourselves and live a more purposeful existence, elevating ourselves above the level of mere animals who simply act on instinct. Then there's Plato, who explored purpose through his theory of forms, emphasizing the pursuit of truth and virtue, which posits that the true reality lies not in the physical world we perceive with our senses, but in a realm of perfect, unchanging forms that represent abstract concepts like justice, beauty, and goodness. The pursuit of knowledge about these forms, accessible through reason, is the ultimate path to achieving truth and virtue in one's life. Plato argued that the physical world is merely a shadow or an imperfect copy of the ideal forms which exist independently and are the true source of reality. And now take Jean-Paul Sartre, an existentialist who argued that purpose is not predetermined, but something each individual must create for themselves, essentially arguing that existence precedes essence, meaning our being comes before any predefined characteristics or purpose. Therefore, individuals are responsible for defining themselves through their choices and actions, rather than relying on external forces or societal expectations to dictate their lives. Sartre believed that humans are fundamentally free to choose their actions and values, which comes with the heavy burden of personal responsibility for the consequences of those choices. Now to the mystics like Rumi, who was a renowned Persian poet and Sufi mystic, who was widely recognized for his profound emphasis on love as the central path to spiritual enlightenment, where the ultimate human purpose is to experience a deep union with the divine through cultivating love in all aspects of life, dissolving the ego, or the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious, and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity to realize the interconnectedness of all creation. Essentially, seeking and experiencing the divine presence through a constant state of love and devotion. When ego drives our life, a human is essentially defined by their self-perception, sense of identity, and conscious awareness, prioritizing their own needs and desires above all else, often leading to a focus on personal gain and a limited ability to see beyond their own perspective. Essentially, they are primarily driven by the self and how they are perceived by others, rather than a broader understanding of their place in the world. Another mystic, Sri Aurobindo, believed that the purpose of life was to find and serve the divine, which he believed was present in everyone and in all things. He believed that the divine was deep inside us, above our thoughts and feelings, and that with the divine or God or source, depending on what you call it, we could find peace, certainty, and solutions to difficulties. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, argued in the book he wrote, Man's Search for Meaning, that purpose comes from finding meaning in life's challenges and contributions. Frankl believed that responsibility is integral to finding life's purpose. He argued that individuals must take responsibility for their actions and decisions, even in adverse circumstances. This sense of responsibility extends beyond personal well-being to include the well-being of others and society. So now that we've heard from some of the greats before our time as to what our purpose is in life, let's continue on down this thought rabbit hole and question whether the answer is even more complex and perhaps merges all of these teachings, religions, and spiritual studies together. None of them wrong or right, because it's not black or white. It's not that simple. It's all simply everyone on their own path and journey of understanding and faith, all on our way to what is essentially the same destination, passed down to future generations by different means, stories, scriptures, and cultures. Yet, in the end, we're all talking about the same thing, just in different ways. What we do know about our purpose for certain is that it isn't about achieving something tangible or building a legacy like many who live today believe or want to believe it is. Speaking of lessons and learning, let's go back to the beginning when I suggested Earth as a school. From the joys of love to the pain of loss, every interaction and choice could actually be a lesson. Our relationships, challenges, and triumphs all serve to shape us as humans and souls, but as souls being who we truly are infinitely. Think about it. If every moment, whether joyful or challenging, carries within it a potential lesson, then the laughter we share with loved ones might teach us about connection and presence. The heartbreak we endure might guide us to understand resilience and the impermanence of earthly attachments. Without intending to sound insensitive, having a child that is handicapped teaches us resilience, compassion, and strength if we let it. Even the mundane moments, like waiting in line or getting caught in the rain, can teach us patience or a sense of humor. In this classroom of life, there are no wrong answers, just opportunities to learn. And like any good school, Earth provides us with a variety of subjects to master, and we may not learn everything we've come here to learn in this one lifetime either. Some of us are here to learn forgiveness. Others might focus on creativity or leadership, courage in the face of adversity. The beauty of this system is that every soul's curriculum is unique, designed specifically for their growth and evolution. Perhaps, if we don't quite get what we're supposed to learn this time around, we will have the opportunity to take the class over again in the next. What if we approached life this way? What if, instead of seeing challenges as setbacks, or feeling like a victim when it feels like everything is against us, we viewed these challenges as teachers? How might this shift in perspective change the way we navigate our daily lives? One of the most fascinating aspects of this idea is the concept called the veil of forgetting. The concept explains that when a soul chooses, yes, chooses, to be born as a human on Earth, it's said to pass through a veil that erases all memories of its previous lives and true home. Why? Because if we remembered who we were and where we came from, or even why we're here, there would be nothing to learn or gain in this human experience here. Imagine taking a test with all the answers in front of you. It wouldn't challenge you, would it? This forgetting allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the human experience. It's only through this immersion that we can truly grow. The pain of heartbreak or losing a loved one, the joy of connection, the fear of failure, these are the tools that shape and refine our souls. You see, there's a belief that we as souls chose to come here, to be born, to live the life we have set forth to live. The good, the bad, the ugly. We signed a contract. Now, let's expand our view beyond Earth. What if this planet is just one classroom of many in a vast universe of schools? Each planet, each dimension, each life we live might offer its own unique lessons. Earth, for instance, could be a place to learn about duality, light and dark, love and fear, chaos and order, emotions, the consequences of our choices, or free will. Meanwhile, another planet might focus on creativity, while another teaches collaboration and peace. There are some teachers and scholars out there, both alive and from the past, that believe that the souls who have chosen to be incarnated on Earth are some of the bravest, because Earth is in fact the hardest school. It is filled with ego, emotions, pain, and suffering. But on the other hand, it is filled with beauty and joy and love, and the chance to transcend and detach from the earthly, societal, and material things should we become aware of this way of being. The earth is dense and heavy, and our souls must face many difficult challenges along the way. Now, I asked, why would we have to go through these challenges and lessons at all? Some believe it's so that, when the earthly life is over, our souls can return to the source and download what we've learned, integrating these lessons into the larger fabric of universal wisdom. In this way, each life contributes not only to our own evolution, but to the collective growth of all consciousness. People often refer to God, or Source. I'd like to explain what I learned Source is. Source is the ultimate origin of all existence, often considered a unifying force or consciousness that underlies everything in the universe. Similar to the concept of God in some religions, but often used in a more non-denominational way, signifying the underlying power or energy from which all things come from. It can be understood as a connection to a higher power, or the divine, or one's own inner essence, depending on the individual belief systems. The next topic I'd like to touch on is the idea of the wheel of karma. In many spiritual traditions, karma represents the cycle of cause and effect. It's said that the choices we make in one life set the stage for lessons we'll face in the next. Positive actions create positive energy, while negative actions may result in challenges or opportunities for growth. Think of it as the soul's way of balancing the scales, and not just in one's own life or the earth, but all of this is to assist in the balancing of all of the universes. If Earth is a school, karma might be the feedback we receive from the universe. It's not about punishment or reward, but about learning. Every action we take echoes back to us, guiding us toward greater understanding and alignment with our true nature. We repeat our existence on Earth until we have mastered the lessons we are meant to learn, at which point we return to a higher spiritual plane, a realm of pure consciousness, or a heavenly state where we rest, integrate our experiences, and continue our spiritual evolution beyond the physical realm. What we can potentially take away from this rabbit hole I dove into is when our earthly life ends, the journey doesn't stop. It's simply like finishing a semester and moving on to the next grade. This perspective transforms the way we view death. It's not an end, but a transition, a moment of going home, reuniting with the truth of who we are, and planning our next adventure. Now let's shift a little and take a moment to consider the phenomenon of dreams. I promise this all connects. Many believe that when we sleep, our soul temporarily leaves the body, traveling to other realms or dimensions. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so real, that it felt like you'd been somewhere else entirely? Perhaps those dreams are glimpses of our soul's travels. In this view, dreams aren't just random neural firings, but a way for our soul to reconnect with its greater purpose, to gather insights or guidance. Dreams might even serve as reminders of who we really are and why we're here. It's just the body that needs rest. Our soul doesn't sleep. So let's make sure we're getting the sleep we need to have these soulful experiences. So, what does this all mean for us, here and now? If life is a school, then every moment matters. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn. Every interaction is a chance to grow. If we just slow down and recognize this, in this very fast-paced world we live in, this perspective can help us approach life with curiosity, compassion, and courage. It also reminds us to be kind to ourselves and others. If we're all souls navigating this Earth school, then we're classmates. We're in this together, learning different lessons, but working toward the same goal: growth and evolution in an effort to help balance the universal scales. As we close today's episode, I invite you to reflect on your own life. What lessons are you learning right now? What challenges do you find in your own life that you may be able to pause, step back, and instead of reacting emotionally or from ego, reacting in love? Reacting in a way that says, nope, I'm gonna pass this test, and do it with grace. How might you approach your challenges with a new perspective? And what if, when you look up at the stars tonight, you imagine them as reflections of the souls here on Earth? For what is above is also reflected down below. Thank you for joining me on this journey of wonder and exploration. There's a lot I didn't go into, and boy, this episode could have been literally hours long. But if this episode resonated with you at all, share it with someone you love. And remember, the universe is vast, but so is the light within you. Religion and spirituality has always been a hot topic. Do your own research, form your own opinions, and keep love at the center of it all. Until next time, stay curious. And if you're interested in diving deeper, leave a comment, and I'll be happy to share some of the sources in which I've been doing my own deep dives. From my soul to yours, may we learn what we're here to learn and evolve with grace. Thank you for tuning in to Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm Courtney Christine Koskin, and I hope you'll join me for next week's episode as we proceed down the path of curiosity and discovery, uncovering various topics along the way. If you have any comments or want answers to your burning curiosities, drop me a line in the comments below. Until we meet again, find the good in the world, and if you can't find it, be the good.